I was a codebreaker. And of course we weren't able to talk about it until we were released from the Official Secrets Act. And then we didn't want to talk about it. It was so strange.
In this week's Border Life, a tribute to the woman whose job helped save millions of lives. During World War II, Mary Sherrard worked at Bletchley Park. Her job, to decipher German codes. Mary was 97 when she died of COVID-19 on Christmas Eve. But 2 years ago, this remarkable lady from Duns shared her memories with me, starting with a visit to a military recruitment office.
I had wanted to join up ever since war was declared. My family were a seagoing family, and I wanted to be a wren.
Like these wrens, Mary went to London for training. She was then taken to a large building near Milton Keynes. Its name, Bletchley Park.
It was all very, very secret. The bus slowed down at the entrance and we all were counted or looked at, and we were taken immediately to our own hut, which was Hut 11A, and that was where we wrens did our bit. Our job was to look after the bombs, the bombers, B-O-M-B-E-S, that Turing had set up.
Alan Turing was a brilliant mathematician, a computer scientist whose bombs or small machines would eventually break German codes.
We set them running, and the bomb would perhaps take just about 30 minutes or something. But sometimes we had to set up a menu that took days, and it ran through all the possible answers there could be. So it could become boring, but by Jove, you'd to always be on your toes. They would come to a stop, and your machine would give you a message. If it was German, then of course it went on to other people in other huts to really translate it. And we would cheer when word came through that your bomb had been the successful one. It was on your bomb that the message was broken.
If Hut 11 played a crucial role in breaking codes, the real power lay here in Hut 8, because this was Alan Turing's domain.
Turing was the friendliest of persons, the friendliest, didn't stand on rank or anything like that. He was also absent-minded and fun, kept his mug chained to his radiator because it was his mug and he didn't want any other mug for his coffee and things like that. But he was a delight and he was so friendly. And of course he had great help from so many people who tend to get overlooked. And that's partly, I think, because we treated Turing so badly, didn't we, when his homosexuality got in the way of things.
In those days, being gay was a crime. To hide the fact, Turing proposed to a woman.
He was engaged to be married, you know, to a lovely girl. You've perhaps seen the film, The Imitation Game, which I think actually gave a very good impression of Bletchley Park, with two exceptions. One was that the film made his fiancée so glamorous, and she wasn't. She was just lovely and down to earth and like us all, you know.
5 minutes and 34 seconds.
You said to do it in under 6.
And also they made Commander Denniston, who was in charge, a bit of a baddie.
Me too.
And I'm told that that was because the filmmakers felt they needed a baddie.
Have you decrypted a single German message?
You will
never understand the importance of what I am creating here.
Our patience has expired.
No!
But you know, it's upset his grandchildren tremendously that their grandfather is being portrayed in this way. But that was sort of poetic license, I suppose, wasn't it?
How secretive was it, Mary, the work there?
Oh, highly secretive, highly secretive. We could only tell our relatives we were doing the work of a writer on board HMS Pembroke 5. We could not say anything else at all. We could only talk about our work in the workplace. We knew how important it was.
So crucial that it shortened the war. Alan Turing deciphered a machine used by the Germans to send secure messages. Cracking the Enigma code allowed the Allies to make their final push into France.
The Allied invasion of Europe from the west is launched. D-Day, the second front, and the second battle of France. Against the
6 months before the D-Day landings happened, all our leave of any kind was stopped. And we just had to get down to it because we knew it was coming. We were a happy band of 19, 20-year-olds, you know, and we all kept each other going. But by Jove, we broke codes that told us that our husband, our boyfriend, our uncle, his ship had gone down, and he'd gone down with it. And I marveled at the way my fellow Wrens coped with that sort of thing, but we all helped each other. But there is a lovely lake at Bletchley Park, and the powers that be used to have musical concerts down by the lake. And the civilians were very much encouraged to go down and sit by the lake and listen to the music. We had such good times, you know, when we were relaxing. I remember at Gayhurst, some of us would be sunbathing on the flat roof of that house, and the planes would swoop in to the airfield next door, always hovering around these half-naked women on the rooftop. And very quickly, of course, word came back, all sunbathing on the roof is forbidden, you know. But so we'd all sorts of little fun and adventures, but we would play records on the grass, you know, as time goes by, the music of Casablanca. That takes me really, really back to those days.
Friendships continued at Bletchley Park, and romances blossomed. It was here that Mary met John Sherrard, a flight sergeant.
We had a bomb breakdown one night, and none of the RAF could get it fixed. And I said, but what about the person in charge? And they said, well, he's been up for 72 hours. We are not waking him. I said, well, I'm going to waken him. And I did. And
this was John?
And this was John.
Mary and John got engaged, and with rationing in full swing, she was resigned to marrying in her uniform until...
Lovely story. When I first went to Bletchley Park, so many of the girls were society girls because they were relatives of people like Turing, or they'd been to Oxford and Cambridge. They'd all been presented at court. It was still relics of those days. But I was sad because I particularly wanted to have my granny's orange blossom in my hair. And I thought, I can't do that with this uniform. And so this lovely society girl whom I had met way back when I first went in 1942, got in touch with me, because this was 1945 by now, and she said, would you like to borrow a dress I was presented at court in? I said, oh, I'd love that. And it was ivory satin, and I was able to wear my granny's orange blossom in my hair.
When the war ended, the Official Secrets Act meant Mary had to keep quiet about her job for 30 years. Only then was she able to tell people about the part she played.
Do you know, and maybe you'll understand this, we didn't want to talk about it, and you were permitted to talk about it, and nobody did. And it was in the 1990s, at least, that was 20 years later, before I began talking about it, because it had become a way of life, hadn't it? My own children were a little bit upset that their mother and father didn't trust them enough to tell them the secret. But of course we couldn't do that. I was so fortunate that I had a husband that knew how important it was.
It's estimated that the work done at Bletchley Park shortened the war by 2 years and saved millions of lives. Work done by people like Mary Sherrard from Duns.